Have you ever been told that walking is the best exercise as you get older? Maybe your doctor recommended it, or maybe it's something you've just always done because, well, that's what everyone says. And don't get me wrong, there's a lot of truth in that. Walking is gentle on the joints, doesn't require equipment, and gets you out into the fresh air. But here's the thing, most people won't tell you. If you're over 70 and walking too much, especially without balancing it with the right kinds of rest and other movements, you might actually be doing your body more harm than good. I know, that might sound a little surprising at first. After all, we've spent decades hearing that more steps equal better health. But the truth is, once you're past a certain age, your body needs a different kind of care. It's not about stopping movement, it's about moving smarter. Because when you overdo it with one type of activity, like walking long distances every day without variety, your body starts to send you warning signs. Stiffness, fatigue, achy knees and hips that linger longer than they used to. And worst of all, that sense that no matter how much you walk, you're not feeling stronger or more energized. In fact, you might feel older than you really are. Now, let me be clear. This isn't about scaring you away from walking altogether. This is about understanding how your body changes after 70 and what it actually needs to stay strong, mobile, and independent. Because the goal isn't just to live longer, it's to feel good while you do it. And that starts by shifting the way we think about exercise, especially the kind we do every day without even thinking about it. So in this video, we're going to talk about why walking too much after 70 could be speeding up the aging process in your muscles and joints, and what to do instead so you can stay active without wearing yourself down. We'll get into some practical tips, some eye-opening facts, and simple ways to adjust your routine that can make a big difference. Let's start with this. Your muscles and joints simply don't recover the same way they did in your 40s or 50s. That's just biology. As we age, we naturally lose muscle mass, a process called sarcopenia. It starts slowly around our 30s and 40s, but really picks up speed in our 70s. And when you lose muscle, your body starts to lean more on your joints and connective tissues, your knees, hips, lower back to do the work your muscles used to handle. Now think about what happens when you go for long daily walks without building back that muscle. That pressure on your joints builds up. You might feel like you're being active and doing all the right things, but under the surface, your body's trying to keep up without the support it needs. That's when walking stops being purely beneficial and starts becoming draining, especially if you're doing it on hard pavement, wearing shoes that have seen better days, or pushing through discomfort because you think that a little soreness is normal. When you're younger, your body can bounce back, but after 70, recovery takes longer, and that soreness can turn into inflammation. And chronic inflammation is one of the biggest contributors to aging faster than we should. Have you ever noticed how sometimes after a long walk, you feel more tired than refreshed? Or maybe your knees swell a bit more than usual? That's your body trying to tell you it's had enough. The trick is learning to listen and not pushing past those signals out of guilt or habit. You don't need to walk 5 miles a day to be healthy. In fact, research now shows that shorter, more balanced activity throughout the day is often better for older adults. Think quality, not quantity. Another thing to consider is posture. When we walk for long stretches, especially without thinking about how we're walking, it's easy to start leaning forward, slumping a bit, or locking the knees. These little shifts might seem harmless, but over time, they throw your whole alignment off. That misalignment adds strain to your spine and your joints. And before you know it, walking turns into a source of discomfort rather than a source of vitality. And let's talk about something else that's often overlooked. Walking doesn't work your upper body. That means your arms, your back, and your shoulders aren't really getting much benefit. If walking is your main form of exercise, it leaves out key parts of your body that are crucial for stability, balance, and daily tasks. You need those muscles just as much as your legs, especially when it comes to preventing falls or carrying groceries, or simply getting out of a chair with ease. The good news is that none of this means you have to stop walking. It just means your body might be craving more balance. A mix of gentle strength training, stretching, and mobility work can make your walks feel better and safer. You don't need a gym or a bunch of equipment, just a few intentional changes. Things like adding in light resistance exercises a few times a week, focusing on core strength, and giving yourself enough rest between long walks can do wonders for your overall well-being. Now that we've started to look at why walking too much might not be the best one-size-fits-all solution anymore, it's a great time to talk about what kinds of movement actually help your body stay strong, flexible, and energized after 70. So let's take a closer look at what kinds of movement your body really thrives on after 70. Because here's the truth, a lot of people don't hear enough. Just because you're getting older doesn't mean you're supposed to feel stiff or tired all the time. Much of that has more to do with how we move or don't move than with age itself. One of the most powerful things you can do is begin to gently build strength. And I'm not talking about lifting heavy weights at the gym or doing anything extreme, just small, consistent movements that remind your muscles they still have a job to do. That could mean standing up from a chair without using your hands, doing a few simple squats while holding onto the kitchen counter, or lifting a small can of soup overhead a few times while watching your favorite show. You'd be amazed at how even 5 minutes a day of mindful muscle work can help improve your balance, posture, and energy. When your muscles are stronger, your joints don't have to pick up the slack. Your knees, hips, and ankles can finally take a break from carrying the entire load. And that often means less pain, less stiffness, and more confidence in your movements. And that confidence, it's a game changer. Because once you start moving with more stability, you naturally begin to feel younger. Not just physically, but emotionally too. You don't dread going to the store or walking up a few stairs. You stand taller. You breathe easier. It all builds on itself. Something else that really helps is mobility work, those gentle movements that focus on flexibility and keeping your range of motion open. Think of it like oiling a creaky hinge. The joint might still work, but with a little attention, it moves much more smoothly. For many people over 70, the hips and shoulders tend to stiffen up, especially if walking is the only regular activity. That's because walking is repetitive. It's mostly forward motion, which doesn't challenge your joints in different directions. Over time, your body starts to forget how to move side to side, twist, or reach fully overhead. And when you stop using those motions, you slowly lose them. Adding a few minutes of stretching or light yoga-style movements can restore those forgotten motions and help prevent falls and injuries. You don't have to twist into a pretzel or touch your toes from a standing position. Just sitting in a chair and gently rotating your upper body, lifting your arms, rolling your shoulders, or stretching your legs in a slow and steady way can wake your body up in the best possible sense. It's not about doing it perfectly, it's about keeping your body curious, reminding it that movement can still feel good. Now let's talk about balance, because it's one of the most important pieces that often gets overlooked until something scary happens, like a fall. Walking on its own doesn't do much for your balance, especially if you're always walking on flat, predictable surfaces like sidewalks or treadmills. Your body gets used to that same even rhythm. But life isn't always that predictable. You might need to turn quickly, step over a curb, or reach for something without thinking. If your balance hasn't been trained to handle those small surprises, you're more likely to feel unsteady. Practicing balance can be simple. You can try standing on one foot while brushing your teeth, or walking heel to toe down the hallway like you're walking on a tightrope. You can even challenge your balance just by closing your eyes for a few seconds while standing still. These little exercises may seem silly, but they train your brain and body to react more quickly, which keeps you safer and more capable in everyday situations. And best of all, you can do them anytime. No gym required. Let's not forget about rest either. We live in a world that praises hustle and movement, even in retirement. It's easy to feel guilty for sitting down or taking a break, especially when you've been told that staying active is the key to staying healthy. But rest is part of the equation too. After 70, your body needs more time to recover from activity. Yes, even from a long walk. If you've ever noticed that you feel sore or wiped out the day after a big outing, that's not just in your head. It's your body's way of asking for recovery. Giving yourself permission to rest, to put your feet up, to enjoy a quiet moment without feeling like you're being lazy. That's not just good for your body, it's good for your spirit too. Rest allows your muscles to repair, your joints to recover, and your nervous system to reset. And when you do get moving again, you'll feel the difference. Your steps feel lighter, your energy is more steady, and you're less likely to overdo it. Now, while we're on the topic of energy, it's important to understand how physical activity connects to your mood and mindset. Many people think of exercise only as something physical, burning calories, building muscle, improving heart health. But movement has a huge impact on how you feel emotionally too. And when you're stuck in a pattern of overdoing one type of movement, like walking too much and feeling tired or in pain afterward, it can affect your mood more than you realize. You might start feeling frustrated, thinking, why am I still sore when I'm doing everything right? Or why don't I feel better when I'm trying so hard? That emotional weight can be just as exhausting as the physical kind. But once you begin to balance your activity, adding in a little strength, a little flexibility, some balance work, and yes, some rest, you'll likely notice your mood lifting too. There's something incredibly empowering about feeling in tune with your body again. You're not just reacting to discomfort, you're leading with intention. You're working with your body, not against it. And one last thing to think about: variety. Our bodies love variety. When you give your body different ways to move, it stays more adaptable. It learns, it adjusts, it stays younger, both in function and feeling. Walking can still be a part of that, but it shouldn't be the whole picture. Just like a good meal has more than one ingredient, a healthy movement routine after 70 needs a mix of flavors. A little strength, a little stretch, a little stillness. That's where the magic really starts to happen. Next, we'll explore the small adjustments you can start making today that can completely transform how you feel in your body. Little changes that don't take a lot of time or energy, but go a long way in helping you stay vibrant, mobile, and full of life. So how do you start making those small adjustments in your day-to-day life that really move the needle, that help you feel stronger, more balanced, and more energized without wearing yourself out? It begins with listening, truly listening to your body. That's something a lot of people have a hard time doing, especially if you've spent most of your life powering through, toughing it out, or pushing yourself past the point of exhaustion. It's easy to think, I just need to keep moving or I'll stiffen up. And while there's some truth to that, there's also a fine line between helpful movement and too much of a good thing. After 70, your body's signals become even more important. If something feels achy, unusually tiring, or just off, it's not your imagination. It's your body asking for a different approach. One of the easiest ways to begin shifting your movement habits is to build in little pockets of variety throughout your day. Maybe instead of going for that same 45-minute walk every single morning, you cut it down to 20 minutes and spend the remaining time doing something else. Stretching in your chair, doing light resistance work, or just practicing standing on one foot for a few seconds. These may seem like tiny things, but they send a powerful message to your body. We're training for life, not just clocking in movement time. And here's the beauty of it: when you move in a way that supports your whole body, instead of overloading certain parts, you don't just feel better in the moment. You begin to build up resilience. That's the kind of strength that sticks with you. The kind that helps you bend down to tie your shoes without wobbling, or get out of the car without feeling stiff, or turn quickly when you hear someone call your name without pulling a muscle. That's the kind of strength that keeps you independent, confident, and enjoying the life you've worked so hard to build. It's also worth saying, don't be afraid to sit. We live in a culture that often shames rest, especially in older adults. You might hear things like, sitting is the new smoking, or keep moving or you'll rust. But the truth is, it's not about sitting or not sitting. It's about how you sit and how long. Resting in a comfortable position, maybe with your feet up and a warm cup of tea in your hand, that's not laziness. That's honoring your body's natural rhythm. If you've moved your body intentionally that day, if you've stretched, strengthened, and challenged your balance a little, then that moment of rest becomes part of the wellness cycle, not a break in it. Another gentle shift you can make is paying attention to how you feel after different kinds of movement. Keep a mental note, or even jot something down. Do you feel energized after doing 5 minutes of strength exercises? Does your back feel looser after a few hip circles or shoulder rolls? Do you sleep better after stretching in the evening instead of walking? Over time, these little observations help you create a movement routine that's truly personalized, and isn't that what aging well is all about? Not trying to do what everyone else is doing, but tuning into what makes you feel good, what makes you feel alive. Let's also touch on posture for a moment, because this often gets overlooked. One of the reasons people feel older than they are is because of how they carry themselves. Rounded shoulders, forward head, stiff hips, it can all make you feel tired and much older than your years. Walking long distances with poor posture can actually reinforce those issues, making you feel worse, not better. But when you do gentle strengthening exercises for your upper back and core, like pulling your shoulder blades back, engaging your stomach muscles, or even practicing good alignment while seated, you begin to shift your posture little by little. Suddenly, your walks feel easier, your breathing improves, your back doesn't ache quite so much after standing. It's these subtle changes that add up to something big, something empowering. And while we're here, let's also not forget about joy. Movement should feel good, not every day. Of course, some days are stiff, some days are heavy, but at its core, moving your body should be a form of self-respect and joy, not punishment. If you love to dance, turn on some music and sway in the kitchen. If you like gardening, that's a workout in disguise. If you've got grandkids or pets, play with them. Bend, reach, squat, laugh. That kind of spontaneous, playful movement lights you up from the inside out. And it counts. Oh, does it count? So many people think the only real exercise is the kind that makes you sweat and feel sore, but after 70, the best kind of exercise is the one that makes you feel alive after it's over. The kind that leaves you with a smile, not a limp. The kind that reminds you your body is still your friend, not your enemy. If you've been walking out of habit, or because you were told it's the best way to stay fit after 70, and it's not leaving you feeling stronger, then it's time to give yourself permission to do things differently. That's not giving up, that's getting smarter. That's honoring this stage of life, which deserves to be full of energy, not drained by repetitive routines that don't serve you anymore. You've made it this far in life, through so much, and your body has carried you every step of the way. Now is the time to treat it with even more care, more kindness, and more curiosity. Try new ways of moving, shorten that daily walk, and add in a few strength moves. Trade some steps for stretches. Challenge your balance instead of your endurance. Move with the intention of thriving, not just surviving. You might just be surprised by how much better you feel, how your joints thank you, how your energy returns, how your confidence comes rushing back like an old friend you've missed for years. Because aging well isn't about doing more, it's about doing what matters, moving in ways that restore you, that build you up, that help you live fully, not just longer. And if no one has told you this lately, let me say it loud and clear. You're allowed to change. You're allowed to grow. You're allowed to say, walking this much doesn't feel right anymore, and choose something better. That kind of wisdom is the real strength of aging, not just pushing through, but adjusting with grace, listening with love, and living with joy.